Hi, my name is Eric, and I will be reading selections from the e-edition of today's Cape Cod Times. It's a half-hour broadcast. We aren't broadcasting tomorrow in terms of newspapers. We will have Veterans Day programming, but it will not be our normal newspapers. The volunteers are off from our studios tomorrow for the holiday that is Veterans Day, and we will run several Veterans Day memorial type of programming throughout the day tomorrow. This reading is of the Cape Cod Times of today, which is Monday, November 10th of 2025. We'll start with the weather, as we always do, and today expected to be cloudy with showers throughout the day, off and on. High of 58 expected, and a 35 low in the overnight tonight. It's going to be chilly tonight, there's no doubt. Colder with a couple of showers in the evening. I don't think it's going to go below freezing, so you don't have to worry about bringing in the plants or anything like that, but pretty soon you will. All week, the lows will be above freezing. But tomorrow, Tuesday, the high of 41, pretty chilly day during the day, and a low of 35 in the overnight. That's the coldest day of the week is tomorrow. Wednesday, high of 50, low of 39, mostly cloudy and breezy. Tomorrow, I didn't tell you, it'll be windy with clouds giving way to some sun. Not necessarily looking for rain the rest of the week other than today and tonight. On Thursday, mostly sunny and breezy. Same thing with Wednesday. And Friday, mostly sunny. High of 47, low of 34. And the low of 34 is pretty much consistent throughout the evenings this week. So, chilly. Probably want your heat on. Definitely want a second layer of covers. And bundle up before you go to bed. Put on your PJs. Sun will rise at 6:24 a.m. It will set at 4:25 p.m. We'll only have 10 hours and a minute of daylight today. The moon will rise at 9:27 p.m. and it will set at 12:03 p.m. Heading to the front of the paper, where they used to keep the lottery results. They stopped because the Cape Cod Times goes to press, I believe, too early to give you the latest results. And if you ask for them, as you did to us, you certainly deserve the latest results. So for the numbers game of Sunday, November 9th of 2025, in the midday drawing, the results were 6063. Again, yesterday's midday drawing results, 6063. The evening drawing last night of the numbers game for Sunday, November 9th, 6626. Again, last night's evening drawing of the numbers game, 6626. Good luck to all who play, and remember us if you win. From the cover of today's Cape Cod Times, or the front page. It's not a magazine, so there's no cover, but from the front page, Trader Joe's eyes Route 28 in Mashpee for a new store by Denise Coffey. After much speculation, the name of the specialty market proposed for off Route 28 in Mashpee has finally been revealed. Trader Joe's. The quirky market with a cult following has signed an agreement with Shellback Development LLC to occupy 13,229 square feet of new construction, according to Principal Mark Bogosian. That is, if the project gets all the approvals needed from the town. The Planning Board reopened its public hearing on the project November 5th after an initial hearing on April 30th. The town sent it to the Cape Cod Commission for review as a development of regional impact in April because of its size. The Commission gave its approval for the project, with conditions, on September 25th. Town planner Brian Tobin reminded a packed hearing room that the town's review is wholly separate from the Commission's review. This is an entirely new hearing and an entirely new record, he said at the beginning of the November 5th hearing. If you submitted anything to the Cape Cod Commission that you want this board to rely on or consider, you will need to resubmit it again. Hundreds of documents and public comments were submitted to the Commission on the project. Shellback wants to construct a 13,229 square foot commercial building with 139 parking spaces on 3.97 acres at 674 Falmouth Road in Mashpee. For months, until Wednesday night, when Select Board member Michael Milbury asked for the store's name, it was referred to as the Falmouth Road Specialty Market. Shellback is seeking a special permit under 3 sections of the zoning bylaws: 174-24C, 174-25E1, and 174-25E2, according to attorney Christopher Kerrane. I think the things this board should very carefully vet are the criteria in 174-24C, Tobin said during the meeting. The big question is this location right for the town as proposed? And if not, are there adjustments we can make to improve it in this location? And if not, what are our very valid reasons for saying so? Alana Doyle was one of several supporters of the project. She gave a glowing review of Trader Joe's products and pricing. Traffic congestion remains a concern among many who oppose the project, including resident John Miller, who's been following the project's review through the Cape Cod Commission. He has submitted documents opposing the project because of its potential impact on the residents of Shellback Way and the busy stretch of Route 28 near the store's proposed location. Traffic is the gorilla we're dealing with, Miller said at the hearing. It doesn't make good intuitive sense to me. The town needs to do independent studies. This is just not the best location. Milbury echoed Miller's concern. It looks like a traffic nightmare to me, he said. Kerrane countered, saying the results of traffic studies done for the commission suggested minor disruptions. These traffic issues were addressed satisfactorily with the Cape Cod Commission and its engineers, he said. Tobin said the town will be having additional peer reviews of all of the reports. He also called for a second site visit for board members. It's a big project, Planning Board Chairwoman Mary Wagan said in a call on November 6th. We want to review it respectfully and right. She expects the board to spend one meeting on traffic issues alone. The next public hearing is scheduled for December 17th at 6:30 p.m. The other headline that's local on the front page of today's Cape Cod Times, dated Monday, November 10th. Father seeks answers in son's May hit-and-run death, by Denise Coffey. Nearly 6 months after his son was killed in a hit-and-run in Wellfleet, Timothy Duval Sr. is still waiting for information from investigators working the case. Both the Wellfleet Police Department and the Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office have shared little information with him, he said. Duval's son, Timothy Charles Duval, Jr., was found lying on Ocean View Drive in the vicinity of Long Pond Road before midnight on May 24th. The 24-year-old Army veteran and father of a 3-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene. The vehicle that hit him was believed to be a pickup truck or SUV based on some of Duval's injuries, according to a Wellfleet Police Department press release. The police eventually identified a vehicle and a person of interest in the case on June 23rd. The vehicle was processed by Wellfleet Police, Barnstable County Sheriff's Office, and the Cape Cod Regional Law Enforcement Council's crash reconstruction team. Its make and model and the person's identity were withheld pending investigation, the police reported, and that information was never released. Not the right truck? Duval Sr. said investigators told him they found evidence linking the vehicle to the scene where his son was killed. In an October 31st interview, Duval Sr. said signs of his son were found on the undercarriage of the vehicle. Officials told him they didn't believe the vehicle had been the one to hit his son, but think it had run over him after he was hit. How do you ride down the road and don't see a body in the road, but you run it over? He asked. I never heard of such a thing in all my life. Duval Sr. of Delaware admitted that toxicology reports showed his son's alcohol levels were high. His son of Tallahassee, Florida, was partying that Memorial Day weekend in Wellfleet with friends. When they went to the beachcomber at Cahoon Hollow Beach, he and his son was refused entry. He said his son was refused entry. His friends went inside. Duval Sr. said his son spent time in the beachcomber's parking lot before eventually making his way up the driveway to Ocean View Drive and towards Long Pond Road, where his body was found. Duval Sr. faults the beachcomber and his son's friends for his son being stranded in a parking lot on the edge of the ocean with no cell phone reception and 2 miles of a curvy, unlit road between him and Route 6, where he might have found help. No answers. Not having any answers has been hard for Duvall Sr., who said he has his good days and his bad days. No answers is driving me crazy, he said. Wellfleet Police Lieutenant Jeremiah Valley said he couldn't comment on if a vehicle was impounded or if it was still in possession. We can't comment about the vehicle or the evidence, Valley said in an October 31st phone call. The Cape and Islands District Attorney's Office and Wellfleet Police Department want to assure the public the matter remains an active and ongoing investigation at this time. No further details can be released. The investigation being conducted by the Wellfleet Police Department and the District Attorney's Office remains ongoing, according to a November 4th email from Danielle Whitney, the District Attorney's Director of Community Programs. As this incident remains under investigation, no additional information can be shared at this time, she wrote. Moving on in the paper to the Cape and Islands section, we keep it local here at the Ledger as much as possible. Veterans Production features theater and music by Susan Vaughn. A tribute to veterans and their families combines military ceremony with short-form plays written by veterans, music, and audience participation in a national production to be performed on Monday, November 10th at the Hyannis Arts Hall. In Honor is being performed for only the second time since its premiere in Los Angeles on Memorial Day this year, director Danny Davis said in a phone interview on November 5th. The 4 plays feature grief dialogues by Cape Cod actors, performances by local and state officials, and young people's groups. It's a really awesome format and so unique because it's community building between veterans and their families, Davis said. She's an Emmy Award-winning writer, Tony-nominated Broadway producer, theater director, and television producer who got her start in theater during summers in Brewster. The production humanizes veterans and their experiences, she said. It helps us to remember they're doing it to protect our freedom. It enhances our collective experience of what it means to be an American. One section of the program is called Ribbons of Remembrance, with a beautiful set design of colorful military ribbons and flags, Davis said. The audience is invited to put names on the ribbons and share their personal stories about a veteran. We wanted to make it a very gorgeous experience and a big warm hug for everybody, Davis said. Cape Repertory Theater provided pieces for the set. I find that this one's going to be very powerful because it's about this community, Davis said. Ben Fortier of Somerset and a U.S. Marine veteran wrote one of the featured plays in the production called Michael and the Saints. He said the 10-minute monologue is about a Marine taking part in a small reunion who begins to realize that he has a lot of feelings he hasn't sorted out with the American people, and he talks about his experience in combat in Iraq. Fortier served in the U.S. Marines from 2005 to 2009, and in a local reserve unit, the 1st Battalion, 25th Marines out of Fort Devens. He also is an award-winning poetry author who writes about war experiences and has a background in media production, broadcast, and film. Fortier's play was accepted in an application process through Returning Soldiers Speak, which was presented in Los Angeles. My play is just a piece of this experience, trying to bridge the gap between the civilian and military divided, Fortier said in a phone interview. The production allows for discussions even with people who don't have any close proximity to war, he said. It's now kind of up to me as a veteran and artist to explore the veteran's experience through art, he said. Cape Cod officials participating in the program include State Representative Stephen Zarhos and Barnstable Town Council member Matthew Levesque. Local actors will be featured as well as the Nicholas G. Zarhos Young Marines and the Monomoy Middle School Chorus. The free production will be from 5 to 7 p.m. on Monday. It'll be followed by a reception. Donations will benefit the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center, Big Nick's Ride, and Josh's Boots. People are encouraged to make a reservation at griefdialogues.com/in-honor. But walk-ins will be accepted. And on Mondays, Steve Heslip, the photographer for the Cape Cod Times, usually writes an article that is about more than photography. A portrait session with a herring gull turns into a balancing act. Turning the ordinary into something extraordinary is always a goal when heading out to make photographs. The world is full of visual chaos, and it's our job to try and bring back a photograph that catches your eye no matter what the subject matter, even a gull. In the world of bird photography on Cape Cod, there's likely nothing more ordinary than the lowly gull. I avoid using the term seagull because, as my old photo pal Barry Donahue would say, there is no such thing, and he was quick to catch the term in my photo captions and let me know that. The Cape's most popular gull would be the herring gull, Larus argentatus. Translated into English, Larus is the genus and argentatus meaning decorated with silver. They stack up like Black Friday shoppers outside a mall entrance when the herring runs are full of fish. But most shutterbugs run across them working the tide line, catching green crabs and plucking quahogs. When our summer photo interns arrived each summer and headed out on their inaugural first assignments to find feature photographs, gull photos roosting on harbor pilings, often silhouetted against a sunset, were a popular subject. As a bonus, the caption was an easy write. So on slow news days, when the call goes forth from the news desk for photographs to fill some news holes, there are days when the only subject matter that presents itself are the ever-present gulls. My latest encounter was with a camera-friendly, immature herring gull. It was close to sunset. The weary youngster had spent a good bit of time collecting clams, dropping them at altitude on the rocks, protecting its meal from marauding relatives nearby, and then repeating the process. The setting sun provided a nice catched light in its eyes. It didn't fly off when I started our photo session. It was in the one-legged perch position. Many theories on that. I prefer to think they're just resting the other leg. As the session went through several different head postures, it did a quick hop, now balancing with only half its foot on the railing. Showing off? I doubt it. But as we say in Photoland, it made a good photo. There is one obituary in today's Cape Cod Times. This obituary is of Ronald George Green of West Yarmouth, who at the age of 82 passed peacefully at home on November 4th. He was born February 18, 1943 in Westerly, Rhode Island, and grew up in Pawcatuck, Connecticut. Graduated from Stonington High School, later earned an electrical engineering degree from Worcester Polytech Institute and a master's in computer science from Northeastern. Ron enjoyed a long career in engineering and aerospace, working for General Dynamics, RCA, Data General, Computer Vision, and McDonnell Douglas before becoming a consultant in government contracting. After nearly 20 years in Huntington Beach, California, Ron retired and settled on Cape Cod in 2005. He was an active member of the Newcomers Club of both Huntington Beach and Dennis Yarmouth. A lifelong singer, Ron was an award-winning barbershop performer, earning multiple international gold medals and singing on stages including Carnegie Hall, the Hollywood Bowl, and the Rose Bowl. In retirement, he also became an avid bird photographer. Ron was predeceased by his wife of more than 40 years, Linda Gothorpe Green, and many family and friends. He is survived by many family and friends, and a private service for them will be held at a later date. And it's playoff time for high school sports. We'll keep it local and move on to the sports section in today's Cape Cod Times of November 10th. Late goal from Chicoine sends DY field hockey to the Final Four by Adam Kirkchin in South Yarmouth. It is safe to say that Brooke Chicoine knows how to connect on a big swing. In addition to her exploits on the field hockey pitch, Chicoine is one of the stars of the Dennis Yarmouth softball team. The Dolphins look to Chicoine's heroics with the former Saturday, as number 2 DY was locked in a scoreless match with number 7 Quabbin in the Division IV Elite 8 showdown. Standing on the left post, Chicoine scored with 4 1/4, 4.25 to go to send her team to the Final Four for the second straight year with a 1-0 victory. Chicoine's big strike highlighted her big game experience, and it was necessary. DY, who was 16-5 on the season, dominated possession for much of the game but didn't generate a ton of dangerous chances. She was right where she needed to be, and DY coach Leslie LaFrance was grateful for it. We've been working on those tips because if you're in too far, it bounces and it goes out, LaFrance said. You're out too far, the goalie clears it. It was nice to see it paid off, her hard work. The assist went to Aurora Kenneville, who was right out in front of the goal before sending it to Chicoine. Chicoine was not about to miss from close up, and she struck the ball well as it rattled the cage. It set off a frenzied celebration for the Dolphins, who had 8 corners. Even with that edge, statistically, DY was not executing as well as on those corners as it hoped. Quabbin's defense deserved some of that credit. Chicoine was true on her attempt, and it ended up being all the Dolphins needed. I knew I couldn't be too close to the goal, Chicoine said. I had to be a little out. I just called and we were communicating, and then it just went from there. LaFrance will take that execution every time. Jenna in the middle. With Leah Woodward out with a concussion, Jenna Richard moved up from defense to center midfielder. It makes for a big adjustment. Richard is inexperienced at that position, but she showed Saturday she can handle the various duties it entails. On one hand, Richard is up for it, but her changing positions leaves a hole at her old one. LaFrance applauded Richard's ability to perform a more offensive role than she's used to. Normally, she takes all of the hits back out of the D, LaFrance said. Now Riley, pre-court, in 9th grade, is asked to take those hits. I think she stepped up and did a really nice job getting those hits out. Even though Richard had only played midfield this week, she gladly took on the new role. She was able to dribble past Quabbin defenders and give her teammates opportunities. And when it was time for those big hits, she took those. She didn't look like she was playing out of position at all. Just create more passing opportunities, not get held back too much playing defense, Richard said of her duties. Try to create more opportunities for the forwards. Just carry it more. Get more corners. Richard did well in all of that and helped generate offense where she could. She's a junior captain and experienced player, so LaFrance knew Richard could do what was asked of her. So far, so good. Going for it. Spelled for, F-O-U-R. LaFrance has coached 2 seasons at DY and now has 2 Final Four appearances. The Dolphins want to extend beyond that and win the program's first state title since 2018. But this is a significant accomplishment in its own right. I'm so proud of these girls, LaFrance said. Her players love the atmosphere and the camaraderie that comes with playing for the Dolphins. It's really fun to play on the team, Richard said. All of us are friends. We're one big family, Chicoine said. It's not we're just teammates. It's as if we're all family. We love coming to practice and playing games together. It's all so much fun. The Dolphins follow LaFrance's lead, and all her players want to do is live up to her expectations. She's very determined, Richard said of LaFrance. She wants us to push to that next step. She's always pushing us, on us, to do better. Her results speak for themselves. Also from the sports page of today's Cape Cod Times of November 10th, High School Roundup. 2 Cape and Island teams advanced to the Final Four by Courtney Jacobs. 2 Cape and Islands high school teams are headed back to the Final Four for the second consecutive season. The second-ranked Dennis Yarmouth field hockey team, which you just heard about, defeated number 7 Quabbin Regional Middle 1-0 in the Division 4 round of 8. The defending Division 5 champion Bourne girls volleyball are in search of a state title in a different division this season. The top-ranked Canalmen, who are 19-3, beat number 8 Ursuline Academy 3-0 in the Division 4 round of 8. Nola Timo, Sophia Halonen, Lily Russell, Mela Muldoon, Madeline Rossignol, and Avery Morrill led the way for Bourne. They'll face number 5 Rockland in the semifinals at a date, time, and location TBD. In other high school playoff action in girls soccer, in Division 3, the round of 16, it was number 25 Tewksbury 2, number 24 Martha's Vineyard 0. The Vineyarders' 15-5-1 strong playoff run came to an end in their third playoff game. They pulled off a huge upset over number 9 North Reading with a 1-0 win in the round of 32. They also defeated number 41 Montachusett RVT 5-1 in the preliminary round. Division 5, round of 16, number 5 St. John Paul II 5, number 12 Smith Vocational Agricultural High School 1. Reagan Dillon scored 3 times and Devin Crawford had the other 2 goals as the Lions, who were 10-7-3, advanced to the Elite 8. Dillon opened the scoring in the 14th minute. After Smith Voc tied the game 1-1, the Lions were back on top 4 minutes before halftime with Dillon's second goal. Lions came out swinging in the second half with Dillon and Crawford both tallying in the first 6 minutes to put the game away. In Division 4, round of 16, it was number 5 Cohasset 2, number 12 Sandwich 0. After the splitting of the regular season series, the Blue Knights, who were 12-6-1, came up short in the third game. They beat number 21 Millis 3-2 in overtime in the round of 32. In cross country, the Barnstable boys cross-country team competed in the Division 1B race at Wrentham. Senior captain Kevin DeFoitis led the charge in 17 minutes 10 seconds over the 5-kilometer course for 56th place. Ryan Wolf had a strong showing for the Redhawks, placing 114th in 18:29, while Jack Titus and Gray Didato ran 21:11 and 21:39, which were good for 167th and 172nd, respectively. For Mashpee, the cross-country team ran in the Division III championship meet at Devons. In the girls' race, Anna Jensen placed 41st with a time of 23 minutes, while Kira Duval placed 85th with a time of 25:15. In the boys' race, Gray Auger placed 25th with a time of 18:27, qualifying for the Meet of Champions next week. Christian Alfonso placed 99th with a time of 20:37. Kieran Kochian finished in 23:07. Gabe Dyer ended in 23:43, and Kevin Botker finished the 5K in 24:54. In Upper Cape, the Rams participated in the Division III championship on Saturday. For the boys, sophomore Sam Fisher became the second boy in history to qualify for the state championship meet, finishing 23rd overall. Senior Jonah Burkhead ran in his final meet for the Rams. Aiden Bingaman, Rory Smith, Michael Banis, Jackson Bliss, and Jackson Solari led the Rams to an 18th place finish. The girls were led by freshman Mackenzie O'Donnell, who ran over a minute personal record with a 26:06 time. She was followed up by Maddie Johnson and Eliza Tillman. Hannah Crocker and Lily Kipling rounded out the scoring for the Rams on the way to a 19th place finish. And with that, we've come to the end of our reading of the Cape Cod Times for today, Monday, November 10th of 2025. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Everyone can take a moment and say thank you to a veteran they know, or just think about one and send them good thoughts. This is your reader, Eric, saying be well, be safe, look after each other, and remember our veterans, not just on Veterans Day, but every day, especially those we've lost recently. Bye for now.